Hello, it's been a very long time. A very long time since I actually made a video. I have got a lot of really nice comments asking how I am. I thought I really need to just sit down. Now, is there a reason why? Well, yeah, I just have not prioritized making videos. I have worked a lot in my other job that I have in town. I really enjoy it, but it's been a lot more hours than I originally thought or anticipated. As of next week, I am actually getting a new schedule, which means I will have a little bit more 50-50 in town and in the studio. So that feels pretty good. Now I'm sort of back. As you might hear, I have been a little bit sick. Well, the thing is, I haven't been sick. I have just been coughing like mad. Let's see, today it's Wednesday today, so a week and a half I have been coughing like mad. This is like my first day getting better. So I was at the doctor yesterday. I got one cough syrup with some morphine mixture in it, which, by the way, I took this in the morning because I was coughing so much when I woke up. I need something to make it stop. So I took like a not the full dose, but I took a sip of it. Like a few minutes later, I had to run to the bathroom because I was like, I'm going to throw up. I didn't, but it was barely. And I was like, okay, I need to sit down. So I sort of saw myself passing in the mirror and I looked like completely white. Well, not completely white. I had a slight yellowish greenish tint to myself. But yes, I'm not taking that cough syrup on an empty stomach again. So I got that. I also got an inhalator to sort of expand the air pipes. So that is actually the reason why I can talk. Before there was hardly any voice, but I do have a voice now, sort of. So because I'm working in the shop, I'm been told to stay home until I'm stop coughing. So my doctor said stay home till the end of the week so you don't upset the customers. And I was like, fair enough, I won't do that. So that means I can actually spend some time and I'll put this aside to edit the vlog. As I'm looking here at the timeline ahead of what you will be seeing in this vlog, I have been filming a little bit and I thought instead of just scrapping everything, I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I have been up to when I have been filming. It's just a lot of random stuff, but when I watch other people's vlogs, I really enjoy a lot of random stuff, quite a lot of voiceover when I'm trying to explain what I am doing and why I have chosen to record it. If you enjoy my voice, then hold on tight. If you don't, then I'm really sorry and I'm really working on trying to get it better. So yeah, you will be seeing some sketchbook stuff, some paint making, and some uncrate unboxings. So let's just get into it. One thing that I've been working on this summer and keep working on is the selection of colors I have with magnets already inside of them. And each batch I make a handful that has magnets in them, and I'm really happy seeing my little collection growing. And what I do is I just pop the magnets inside the paint before it has dried, and then I can store them here. It makes me incredibly happy for no good reason, really. But yeah, perfect if you have a tin, you like to move them around, but you don't like the height difference that the tape gives. So yeah, even Albert likes them. I have been spending quite a lot of time in the sketchbooks, I should say, just exploring and not really having like a big project, just enjoying myself, which has been really freeing. Some of the things that I've been trying are some new mediums. I recently picked up these watercolor inks, they're called, and I was going to make a whole video reviewing and, you know, proper YouTuber stuff. And I filmed everything, I started editing, and I was like, I don't like it. And I think it's a combination of I didn't like what I had filmed, I didn't like what I had created as my quote-unquote big project, and I also not that happy with the medium. I felt like it was a little bit of like I was going to say like dishonest marketing. I don't think it's dishonest, but a little bit. Watercolor for me terms is like watercolor, that's one thing, and ink is another, and this is more like liquid. This is more like um, just straight out of ink, you know, that you keep in regular markers. It's not watercolor ink. It doesn't have any of that watercolor qualities. You can't lift them, you can't move them. They're not light, fast, and you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so, but I did want to play around with them, and I thought I could just share a little bit of the footage that I do have, because I do really enjoy like how bright these colors are, because again, they are not watercolor, they're not pigment based, they are dye based because they are inks. And I felt like when I looked through my review again, I just keep coming back because I was just a little bit disappointed over the fact that it's marketed as watercolor inks and you don't have the watercolor properties. So I'm going to leave that. But I did a spread in my sketchbook, and I'm showing you one of those pages where I did a little sketch of the bottles and filled them with the colors, and then made a gradient from one color to the next, just to show a little bit like how many colors you can get out of them. When it's these very limited stuff, I feel like you can get so far with a warm yellow, a magenta, and a true blue or cyan color. And as you can see here, I could get a red, like a bright red, mixing the yellow and the magenta. I could get almost a cool yellow before I started getting the green, mixing the yellow with the blue, and beautiful purples. And I think that is one of the things why I try not to pick if there's a true red. Try to stay away from that, because it's really hard to get those really bright and vivid purples. And when you mix the cyan with the red, you have a much better luck. And I, for my sake, I feel like the magenta is more easier to mix, to get good mixes out of. So I did that. Also tried to get like the absolute darkest one. As you can see, they sort of fan out a little bit because they're dye, and you can see the different components of the ink. Just writing here what it was called, and then I just made a really quick little circle, wet into wet, and see how they mixed. As you could see, I needed to help it a little bit, but they sort of mixed, and I think if nothing else, it's a fun spread in the sketchbook. It's very colorful and it's a good reference. So yeah, I have had vintage tins in my shop for quite some time, and keep gathering them. I just, sometimes you find the most beautiful ones, and I have decided to curate a few with paints already in them. I think they are so fun. I really like the color combinations I've come up with. Also, I think it's a perfect present or a gift, especially now when we're coming up to the gift giving season. All of them have tracked shipping included in the price, and I'm going to leave a link down below if you're interested. So the other day I got this amazing hit of inspiration, deciding that I just needed to make a calendar. Yeah. Uh, I have made a calendar before. It was years ago. And this time I was like, I'm going to make it professional. I'm selling it really well, right? Anyway, I had this idea of having a calendar, one sheet per month, light watercolory background, and then just the grid on top. And I set out for 2 whole days. I just stood in the workshop painting. First of all, I just have to say, I had so much fun doing whatever, really, that I wanted. I just took the biggest brushes that I had. I took some paper. I started out on this handmade paper. Maybe I shouldn't have started out with that as a warm-up, but I ended up having like an A3 pad with, like, what is it, like 24 sheets in one of those, and I painted on every single sheet of it. Now, turns out I was like didn't like that result either. But just the fact of standing up with those big brushes, like for watercolor, I think they're pretty big, and just painting and getting like proper messy, because I don't get typically messy when I do watercolor. I just had such an amazing time, thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, I started filming the process because once again I was like, I'm going to have this in my vlog. I'm going to make a video about the process of making this calendar that I was so inspired to make. And then, yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. Well, I'm sure what happened because I didn't continue filming, obviously. But I thought I would still show you what I did film and how I sort of decided to change my plan. And I think sometimes I'm really wanting to stick to my original plan, that had really sparked all those creativity, all the inspiration that I had. But at the same time, I felt like, well, I need to be honest with what I'm thinking, if I'm changing my mind, maybe it's for the better. So in the end, I actually decided to go much simpler with it. But I had a lot of fun those days just standing up, because my original thought was to do sort of nature or landscape inspired and having that as a base, and then the typical calendar grid on top of it. And I thought, well, that's fairly easy. I just paint it and scan it, and then it's done. Yeah. Well, it kind of was that simple when I'm thinking about it. But when you're in it, you feel like you don't know if you're going to be able to get to shore with all the stuff that you brought with you. So yeah, but I am happy with some of the paintings that I did. I don't think any of them are amazing, but I'm really happy that I did it and just took some time and painted big. So if nothing else came out of it, I still had fun doing that. And then what I decided to do, I thought was going to be the easiest, was just I took my blackest thick pen, a Derwent drawing pen in the black, and I tried to keep it unsharpened, sort of, and make those big scratchy pencil marks. And I just took my colors, slapped them on, just the colors, and then laid the grid on top, and I'm really happy with it. As of now, I have not got any calendars here. They have been a bit delayed, but I'm hoping to get them soon, and I'm really excited for you to see them, hoping that you will like them. I told you it was going to be all over the place in this vlog. We are back to the sketchbook because the other day I was outside with my mom, with the dogs, and we were gathering up all the seeds from the poppies and all the other flowers. And I just felt like poppy seed thingies are quite amazing, aren't they? So I decided to take some time, open up the old sketchbook and just draw them in all different ways that I could imagine at the time. I can hear you. Thank you. Albert, he is here. Yes. And I just, I sat down. I had started out with just a pencil with orange lead. I kind of like it, I kind of don't. I feel like the lead is a little bit too hard for drawing, but I kind of like that it's not graphite. I'm not sure what I feel. I have it like in pink and purple too, but I feel like the orange is really nice for animal and nature stuff. Anyway, besides the point. Started out with that. I had some brown fine liners. I then started picking out some just color pencils and different, and I just started experimenting. I often feel like, especially in a sketchbook where I have watercolor paper, I feel like I need to be a bit more precious, or a bit more intentional, maybe I should say, in these sketchbooks, because it's nicer paper. I did quote marks, you didn't see, quote unquote, nicer paper. And even though I know it's a sketchbook, it's a place to explore, to sketch, to grow, and just make up stuff. It's not going to be finished pieces in here. That's not the point. I can sometimes still have that feeling that I'm wasting if I don't have a concept or a design already planned out. I really try to sort of break away from that, because I feel like when I do stuff like this, when I actually do explore and don't think so much about how the page is looking, I have, first of all, a better time, and I'm actually trying to explore and learn more stuff. If that is finding the shapes and learning like how the seed capsule of a poppy is looking, or just trying to find the colors, no matter. I just have a lot of, I just feel like I get so much more out of my time in the sketchbook doing this. Of course, I, like everybody else, appreciate a nice spread, like the other one I just did with the sort of color mixing. But that is a page that also sort of, it takes a little bit, like it's a little bit hard to do a page like that, sort of quote unquote wasting a paper or a page on just swatching. But on the other hand, I learned so much. For example, I learned it's not my favorite medium. I was quite disappointed with them because of how they behaved. So yeah, I'm really trying to be more experimental with my sketchbooks, and I feel like I have an easier time being that when it's a sketchbook that don't have watercolor paper, but these I get from Sea White of Brighton, and they are really good price. And even though the paper is cellulose paper, this one is 250 GSM, I think, shooting from the hip there. I really like it. I have done, this is my second version of this that has that sort of faux leather cover. I really like it. I feel like it takes watercolor really well for the kind of paper that it is, but still being cheap enough and easy enough that I want to explore. So yeah, this piece that I sort of finished on with the Caran d'Ache pastel, wax pastel colors, and then just a watercolor wash over, I really like it. I would not have done that if I hadn't played around before. So yeah, paint making, that's what I do. Here we have the audience. They usually stand looking right at me, which is a bit concerning. Albert, he's also here, obviously. So, one of the paints that I've been making is Agnes, which is technically not on my list of paints that I need to do, but I made a really big batch the last time, and I still have a lot of half and full pans. So I just I need to get those because those have the magnets, and I need Agnes out with magnets. So anyway, so Agnes is 3 pigments that I make separately. One is also Newton. So Newton will be coming out later. That's a little bit of a spoiler, I suppose. But what I do, which I think is kind of fascinating, and I think a lot of people find Agnes very fascinating, is how it's made, because it is really 3 colors together, and it's not just that you have mixed the 3 pigments together. And I think this is what makes it unique in the way that you get different proportions out of it. So I just put it in a long line on my desk and then sort of scoop it up together, and you get this effect. Amazing. Again, here is some footage of what was supposed to be a separate video, an unboxing review, you know, the YouTube classic videos. And once again, I was like, no. So I'm just going to put it in here. I feel like it's fun, maybe, hopefully. A little surprise. I don't know. I don't know how many of you subscribe to Upcrate. I tend to go and sort of do like, you know, the 3-month and then hold up for half a year or something and then come back for a 3-month period. So this is my second box this period. I'm not sure if I'm going to resubscribe right away or taking a bit of break. Before I could like do that, subscribe for a few months and then like switch to Scrawlrbox or something. But I'm not feeling Scrawlrbox, you know, with the prices. I'm thinking I'm sticking to Upgrade. I feel like it's a really good value per box, especially with the magazine. I feel like the magazine really ups the value of it. I just started out swatching. I'm familiar with most of the art supply types, even though I haven't tried the brands of them. I felt like the color pencils were good. They felt very soft. You could layer them like eternity. I tried to layer them on the Bristol paper or Bristol board paper, and I could layer like 9 or 10 times with these colors, and it just kept getting darker and darker. So I was like, that's really good on that kind of smooth paper. I was going to say I really like the markers. I felt like they were a little bit weird to hold because they have that sort of rectangular hold. They were not round, and I felt like I really needed to hold them a specific way. And I'm not a fan of an art supply telling me how to hold it. I don't know if I'm just, you know, special. Can't take orders, you know. But yeah, but I had a really nice time opening it up and then thinking of what I was going to draw. And then I was like, I'm going to do some, because I felt like what the artist of the box had done something very sort of mythical or sort of Egyptian, Greek mythology kind of thing. And I was like, I'm going to do Athena. So I'm a really fan. I'm a big fan. I was going to say I'm listening to the Mythos book by Stephen Fry again. I think I'm on my 3rd go on that book. I just really like him, and I like the Greek gods. So I was like, I'm just going to do Athena, and I had a really good time. And I think like I like the pen, the Le Plume white pigment marker. I'm like, I'm a bit so to be honest. But I'm trying to use it primarily, so I use it up, sort of. But, I mean, the Bristol board, the paper was really nice. The alcohol markers behaved like alcohol markers, so I feel like that's pretty good. I'm back here in frame, and I just want to say thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, that you have enjoyed a peek of what I've been up to the last few weeks. I have really enjoyed it. I'm glad that even though I didn't actively do any vlogs, that I still try to record things. I'm happy with what I have done. I have a lot of like sketchbook times before or after I go to work, which I haven't had before, obviously, because I'm working at home. Those times have meant a lot. I feel like I have had a really good time just being able to sit down, taking a few hours and just create, because I realize how meaningful and precious that is. I thought I knew it before, but now when I'm out of the place, when I just, before it was like I could take 5 or 10 minutes, just sit down whenever I wanted, but I can't always do that when I'm actually working in town. And I'm having a really good time just exploring and having fun. These Upcrate boxes, I have subscribed to Upcrate before, but I'm really enjoying it and I'm really looking forward to it. The 2 boxes I have had, have really enjoyed. I hope you have enjoyed this sort of mishmashed catching up vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.